heard the phrase, under the radar, which describes wanting to do something without anybody else noticing. It comes from that military goal of trying to avoid the enemy's radar detection system. And there are times in my life where I really want to go under the radar. I do like going for long walks, and certainly I don't wear my clerics, but it's more for the sake of comfort. But there was a time in particular that I really wanted to go under the radar. I came to Mary Mother of the Church in July of 2014, and there was kind of a lot that was happening right away, all the way from Riverfest and Riverfest cleanup, just to try to get accustomed to the parish and lacrosse and all these things, and the men's club, Mike Petey Peterson, softball, and football mania, and Rock Barns, and fall chicken queue, and all along the way I was hearing Oktoberfest, reading about the newspaper, in the ads, people telling stories. So I was having a hard time getting some of the distinctions of all of this, because there's a special fester, but it's not the fest master. And then you hear about all these grenadiers, which are like a very well-recognized, visible part of Oktoberfest, but they're not part of the royal court. And then it seems to me that Miss Lacrosse is Miss Oktoberfest, but Miss Oktoberfest and Mrs. Oktoberfest are two different people, and it's not the Festmaster's Frau, that's either of them. And then the Festmaster is not the parade marshal. And there's more than one parade marshal, because there's more than one parade, but none of the parades are called the Oktoberfest parade. And then there's all these other events, some with the golden keg and some without, and you don't know if it's going to be on the North Fest ground or the South Fest ground. They're all over the place, and I was hearing stories tied to things like the golden keg, and I thought, well, I'd like to experience it, but I might show up at the wrong place at the wrong time and scandalize a lot of people. So I thought, I'm new to town, and I'm going to be as little recognized as ever. My chance to go under the radar, to see what this is like. So on a Saturday morning, I put on a t-shirt, shorts, sandals, and a ball cap. I figured that ought to do it. After all, how many of you have seen me to this day dressed like that? And I walked downtown toward the crowd and the noise, trying to time things a little bit, and I reached the finish line of the parade about 10-15 minutes before they reached it, and I saw all these people around who had already reached their limit, and as in the gospel, it was about noon. And I started walking kind of against the flow of the parade toward the Oktoberfest grounds, because I thought if everybody's out of the parade, this is my chance to see what the inside of the South Oktoberfest grounds at the Maple Leaf Parade would be like. And as soon as I stepped in, it was nearly empty, and I saw a billboard for like menu items. I thought, well, fair food, I'm hungry, so I got a pork chop on a stick. I thought, well, that sounds good, and I went hunting for it. And I thought, well, I'm going to pass on here because I've got a long walk. I'm going to be hearing confessions in 3 hours. And as I'm walking deeper into the fest grounds for the first time, I see this gentleman who says, "Hey, Father!" It turned out to be the current, I didn't know his name at the time, but the current president of the men's club, Mike Windheiser. We all want to go under the radar from time to time, especially when we are doing something wrong. Whether we're sneaking a cookie or an extra drink that our spouse wouldn't be pleased about. Whether we're cheating on a homework assignment or cheating on our income tax returns. We want to go under the radar. We don't want anybody to notice. There's another time when we like to go under the radar, and that's when we feel like we're going to be exposed to judgmentalism, prejudice, just playground cruelty. And in today's gospel, the Samaritan woman wants to go under the radar for both of these reasons. She comes to the well at the hot part of the day in order to avoid seeing anyone. And we're going to find out that she has a bad reputation. She doesn't want to be exposed to the judgmental, condemning glances of those in her community. But then it gets worse, because when she comes to the well, she sees a Jewish man. And Jews despise Samaritans. This is not going to turn out well. And in the discussion, we learn that she has had 5 husbands, and the man she's living with is not her husband. And so we've kind of picked up the main reason, or at least half the reason, why the community is rather harsh in judging her and why she's coming to the well at the hot part of the day. And Jesus, when he identifies this lie, you're right, you don't have a husband, you've had 5, and the man you're living with is not your husband. Well, now she's really uncomfortable, really wants to go under the radar, and it's too late. So she wants to talk about something that's less personal. Get this. She wants to talk about politics and religion. Anything to get the topic off of herself. Sir, I can see that you are a prophet. Our ancestors worshipped on this mountain, but you people say that the place to worship is in Jerusalem. We see, most importantly in today's gospel, as in all stories, what Jesus is doing. Jesus has come not to condemn, but to save. He is not harsh with the woman. He respects her, even though she's a Samaritan, even though she just tried to lie to him. He wants what's best for her. And strangely enough, there are times in our lives, particularly when we're aware of our sins, and we want to go under even God's radar. But that will never happen. But the God who notices everything has come for the purpose to save. He is not like perhaps the average person. We hear in the letter to the Romans, God proves his love for us in that while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. God is God, and somehow, some way, Jesus is going to encounter us. We cannot fly under the radar, but we don't need to fear, because he thirsts for us, he thirsts for our love, he thirsts for our salvation.